to be a free spirit. From the very beginning, all I wanted is to be free-spirited and have my own freedom to decide my own future. So I made sure that I gained the trust of my mother above all, so that I can have the way, the door to my freedom. Professionally, I think it was very easy. I always wanted to be a writer before being a journalist. So I thought I was going to be a writer. I started as a poet and a short story writer. I think short story was my very strong forte, but then I got consumed by journalism, and the rest is history. So I became a journalist. So I did what I wanted to do from the very beginning. The word in Arabic is taliqa, which is a beautiful word. It's about having liberty. And that was a very important thing for me in my life. That's what I wanted to do when I was young, and I grew up to be, thank God. I'm very much a self-made person. I am self-made in a way that, I mean, I brought myself up. I paid for my own way. I came from a humble family. I helped my family when when they needed me to help them. So I think the fact that I am, had the challenge to sort of knit myself to, بالصنارة, as we say in Arabic. That was really what shaped my life, what shaped me. The fact that I was very much on my own, because I decided that I know what I want. I decided that this is the way to go, and I persevered. This is exactly what you need in order to get to where you want. You need to persevere, and you need to have ethics. You need to know, you have your vision, and you need to go for it without being intimidated. Intimidation is the, sort of like the fast way to losing a personality. So I refused to be intimidated. I was able to apply that professionally and personally. So it helped shape me in the way that I hope you like, because I like me. I like being me. Learn your subject. Once you know your subject and you have done your homework, then you dare ask the question. Then you dare do the follow-up. Then you know what you're talking about. Because otherwise, if you don't know, you ask a question and then it drops. That means you didn't do your audience or your reader the favor. In fact, you have made yourself part of the tool for the politician or what have you, to say what they want. You became, in a way, almost a spokesperson. But when you knew your job, when you knew your subject, and you did the follow-up, it's the art of the question that matters. You do the follow-up, you get the answers, and you don't settle. Know what you're talking about. Don't skim over it. And once you do, you have a lot of confidence, and you then display a lot of professionalism. The advice that I have on a personal level probably is believe in yourself, like yourself. And if you don't, work on it, because you have to live with yourself. So it's nice to like yourself. My father is someone who taught me the pleasure of life, because he loved fun. He was someone who lived well. So that is one of the things I admire about my father, that he lived well, he ventured well, he took chances, and he was independent. There is one more thing I miss about my father very much. I miss my mom. But I miss about him reading me. Every Thursday night in New York, he would stay up till he received my column, and he would call me to tell me what he thought of what I've written. And I miss my mother's voice. My mother has always been my heart, and my father my mind. It really is a blessing. It truly is a blessing. From the moment my daughter was brought into my body, I think God just said, here, I gave you a blessing. And I remember then when I was pregnant and I went to, I had just been hired by Al Haya I remember that I had the best scoop of my life. And she was in me, in my body. I did not even know that I was pregnant. It's during that time when when I did a scoop that no other journalist I know of on earth has done. The scoop was to interview within 8 days, 10 heads of states, 8 foreign ministers, and I'm talking international, global. This was the beginning of my journey of good luck. My daughter is the best blessing in my life, and I coined something when she was small. I used to say, God, it can't get any better. It's like, it's so delicious to be at this stage, and the fact is, it doesn't get any better, but guess what happens? It just stays so good. It just stays so good. So my daughter is now 30, and the journey continues. It's the most blessed journey of my life. She is someone, honestly, that I honestly don't make any decision of substance without her advice. You'll be surprised about anything. Whenever, and when I'm down, she is there for me. She is someone who's lifting me in a very smart way. She's a voice of wisdom for me. Talia is so wise that not only because I trust her sense of wisdom. And she's my partner in life. She's my partner in life. Inshallah, she will have other partners in her life, because I want, the one thing I want, if you want to ask me now, don't have me cry again, is that, Altina, if you ask me what is the one thing you wish for, only one thing, is that she's the last face I see before I say goodbye. So, no, but see, I just want to look at her face and say, I've arrived. I've had a great journey, and I would thank her. I would thank her so much for that, because she's given me the best journey of my life. Being a woman, because that's a domain that is considered by men that it's theirs. So to step into the domain of politics and be an international commentator, to be a journalist on a global level on political matters, the boys didn't like that. It's like, you're stepping into their own domain. So the challenge was very big, and I was fought. The truth is, I don't. One day, maybe if I write a book, I'll name names, but yeah, I was fought a lot. But I persevered. I insisted. I gave copy that could not be put in the garbage. This is where hard work comes in. A good journalist is a curious journalist who listens well, because if they don't listen well, they cannot do the follow-up question. A good journalist would have necessarily to be a good listener in order to understand what's being said, and then put it together, and then sift in order to offer something new. I will only write and speak when I have something to say, and boldly, and as honestly as possible. Definitely honestly, but I mean as objectively as possible, because there is nothing that is totally objective when it's about your opinion. People ask me, and you have an opinion? Of course I write an opinion piece. Duh. This is what I do. I'm a columnist. I write an opinion piece. I am supposed to have an opinion. In my time, when we were print media, or even media on television, there was accountability. We knew that the buck stops with the journalist or with the editor-in-chief, so that we were responsible. We made sure that we double-sourced our story, or 3 times or 4 times, because there was accountability, because we were responsible, and we knew that people were taking us to task. Right now, it's free for all. People just go on, they call themselves bloggers or whatever, or influencers or something like that, and they have nothing to do with the ABC of journalism, with the ethics of journalism. So that's very dangerous. Yes, we don't have print media anymore, hardly, but what survives in the final analysis? It's content, content, content. And believe me, there will be no big journalists, no giants, as we call them in journalism, if there is no credibility and if they don't give content. In my case, I pride myself about somebody who gives content, who has the confidence of people, who has credibility, and who people say, we wait for you, we listen to you, we may disagree with you, but we listen very well to what you're saying. And what does credibility mean? That means you are credible. That means you have not lied, that you have given them confidence in what you're saying. This breed, unfortunately, is fading. So we have to be aware that fake news is a reality. It takes education to know, to sift through it, to know that, to smell it. You have news that has become, and news media that have become so far away from playing the role of journalism, of journalists, and they have become parties. Like say in the United States, most of the media in the United States is absolutely anti-Trump, so the coverage is directed to be anti-Trump. I would have liked the good old media when we did not take position and we became, we went really like after a politician for the side of another, because now we lost the compass of real journalism. If you hear a story, don't just buy it and spread it. Check it out. Double source it. Find out if it's in other places. Take it to the next level. Don't just, say, I heard and spread, because that's a very dangerous thing to do. It's like COVID-19. Leadership is about being a visionary, and it's about having a very clear strategy. You need to be someone who is a good listener, and you do not take the decision alone. Leadership is about really respect of the person who's spending 15 minutes reading your column, and you are influencing what he or she are thinking by giving them facts, by giving them a logic that can lead them to conclude. I am respecting my reader, my viewer. It's softly, you influence, you lead softly instead of like whipping people. But leadership for me, in my case, yes, I would pride myself if history will have me as somebody who led public opinion, somebody who led a new school in journalism, and who not only locally, not in Lebanon only, not only in the Arab world or the Arab region, but internationally. Beirut Institute is now a highly respected global brand. My idea was first to establish a think tank for the Arab region with global reach. In fact, it turned out to be a global institute, which is great, so that it is not gathering people from the region and to speak about the region only, which is fine, people can do that, this is great. But in my case, in the case of Beirut Institute, all those people who are in decision making in Moscow, in Washington, in Paris, in London, these are people I know personally. So when they accept to be guests on my on Beirut Institute Summit e-policy circles, they are people I know. I know them. I know what to get out of them, and I know how much they can give me, and I know how to challenge them. Although they are my guests on the program, we like to say we are a cutting-edge institute think tank. We are a cutting-edge think tank because we always are looking for innovative ways to deal with our part of the region and its place in the world. So, and we don't only do geopolitics. The conversation is so important when it speaks of music, of art. And each week I sit here at my table in my own living room, and 4 fantastic, brilliant people, men and women, come into my living room through Zoom, and we have an amazing 1-hour conversation that is a run-up till the summit, because it's not a substitute for the summit that will happen next year. But in the process, I sort of created my own network. I created my own program, global program, It's a global conversation that relates to our part of the region and beyond. We are part of the global conversation when we speak about China and the United States and their relations. We figure out where we belong there. When we host somebody from India and we want to understand what's going on between India and China, so that we, we're in the learning process. For me, I think women in Lebanon need a quota so that they are part of the decision-making process. They have to be part of the decision-making process. They can't be an attachment, an afterthought. But I think also women need to consider themselves as an agent of change. For me, women are a most important agent in fighting extremism. I think if women understood their value as a potent agent in blocking extremism, they'll make a huge difference. ما تخافي. Don't be afraid. Dare, استرجي, جرأي. Dare to make a difference. Dare to dream. Dare to, follow your dream. And dare to say, I am entitled to my life. So for me, to dare is one of the most important things that I want young women to have in their hearts. But in order to dare, you also need to be aware. To dare somebody is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about daring to dream and daring to decide that it is your place to give somebody hope, and it is your right to make yourself what you wish for yourself to be.